So we've been talking to a lot of loan officers, growth, and as I said on a few of these calls that I've talked to, is that there's two main constraints. Whether a branch will have or a loan officer have, it's either going to be supply constraint or demand constraint. Simply explain, demand means there's not enough business coming in. Supply means that you have business coming in, but you're having a hard time managing it. Now, as I was looking at your guys' intake form, is your goal is like it's being stuck in operations? Is that's the biggest thing? You're trying to get Kathy out from the operation side of things, or
Well, some things have transpired since we filled that out with you and the conversation with that EXP team that's bringing LOs aboard.
yeah.
We hired our daughter, who is experienced in mortgages, to help do loan coordination with us. So that's why I was asking you about the W-2
Yep.
1099 the other day. Looks like she's going to come aboard. So that's going to give Kathy more time to focus on production opposed to, on sales production opposed to work, loan production once it's in processing. Um, so we may have solved a portion of it.
Okay.
I don't know what else you'd want to add to that, Kathy. Kathy's
Oh,
shy today.
that's okay. That's totally fine. Okay, so you're getting the stuff where you're able to get Kathy out of the ops, and then
Yeah,
it's so okay, and then the goal is put the pedal to the metal and drive more business. Is that
right.
then what you want to focus on? Okay.
Correct. That
Uh,
is right. Yeah.
let me move. Sorry here, Matt. I'm gonna move something here in 1 second, guys. I'm gonna see if I can move. No, I can't move. I don't know. It's not working. What the heck? Why can't I move Nick? All right, we'll let him in anywhere a little bit later. It's fine. Okay, cool. So what do you guys want to get to in units per month?
Well, Kathy, you want to speak to that?
Well, I think our goal was six.
Yeah, our goal together combined was, around six loans per month for us. Um, because it's not, last year we did four.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could
Well,
say
yeah,
higher than
maybe
six, eight, then, yeah,
I
let's
guess eight.
double it.
Yeah.
Okay, 8. Okay. And what's stopping you from getting to 8? Was it just the operations now you have that fixed or it's looking
Yeah, I
fixed?
think that was a big part of it as far as, like, even if you remember when we were using this service to call realtors and set up appointments.
Yep.
Um, we've not even yet. We had, I've told you this. The last 6 months been kind of hectic with
Yep.
moving and everything and whatnot. But so for us, it's been we haven't even really. Kathy called them initially, got great vibes from them and all that. Some of the ones that we did connect with,
Mm-hmm.
and just haven't even followed up on those yet in Colorado.
Yeah.
So now that we're hoping Audrey is coming on board, we're hoping a week to 3 week that she'll be fully operational and with the system, and then that'll free us up to do more prospecting.
Got it.
But
Okay. Now, when you're talking about prospecting, who are you going to reach out to first? Who's your plan to reach out to first? Hey, real quick, if you're a loan officer or a branch manager and your business is stuck, whether it's because you don't have enough business coming in or you're having trouble getting the business closed, I want to help you. I do free loan officer hot seats where I invite loan officers on one at a time and I help them fix the biggest issue in their business that's stopping them from to grow. Now, if this is something that interests you, in the description is an intake form. Fill that out, let me know a little bit about your business and I'll personally review it. If it's something I think that I can help, then my team will reach out to you and we'll get you scheduled for one of our upcoming hot seats. 'Cause I have some thoughts on this, but it's gonna see if we're on the same page
yeah,
first, and then
I was planning to reach out to those realtors that were warm to the last campaign that we did with you.
yep.
So those realtors, and then we have Redder, so we're going to keep adding to that
Okay,
list basically through that.
okay. So I'm gonna put refresh agents met and then new agents. Okay, that's exactly what I would do too. You have low hanging fruit on agents that you've already met that hopefully have at least some sort of familiarity, with you, and you had that conversation. How many of those would you say that there are? I don't remember what the number was.
The ones that were, I probably had 15, I think. out of all the ones that we talked to that were really, they wanted to explore further, and they were
Okay.
interested in the BDM program.
Okay, that's one thing I was talking about. So you have 15 that are, we'll say warmer potential, and then how many that are less warm? Would you say? I don't remember how many you met. Obviously, it's the rest of them. I just don't remember how many you guys
Yeah, I
met.
don't know. I don't even know if I had all of those. But I do have another list, probably well over 100, but they're just like generic, not generic, but just pulled from certain like Redder or something like that.
Okay, I'll just put an X amount there. Okay.
Yeah.
X am I doing here? Trying to making notes here on my iPad. I'm still not used to this thing yet. I've been an Android guy forever, but
Yeah.
iPad is the
Mhm.
one that I can go to my Zoom and quickly change over it. So I'm going over to the dark side for all the iPhone people out here. And that
Oh,
it's okay.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. I got both.
Android.
we're Android people, so that's hard to
All
hear.
right, good. You're my people. You're my people. That's good. Okay, cool. So you guys are talking about the BDM program. That's your unique selling proposition. BDM.
Yes.
I would say, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. I love that. I love that program. I think it's brilliant. I was talking to a loan officer just before this, and I told him that he should look to use more of that. But any which way. Okay, so you got 15. You guys are going to 8 loans a month. I tell you, you have 15 agents that have some sort of warm connection with you. Potential is it should be pretty darn simple to get to that eight level. It's just a matter of the consistency of doing it. Now, have you guys already worked out your pitch for it, the BDM, or you guys have not worked out how
That's
you
more of a
present?
wing, I would say, more winging it.
Have you been on the
Agree
info
with that?
session for Karen? Yeah, I think Karen puts an info session on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. So I haven't talked to him since Nexa's revamped the whole BDM
Mm-hmm.
system. So so that's what I planned on doing. I didn't really have a pitch laid out just yet, but
Okay.
I have been into those sessions, and I have some emails and just different flyers and stuff like that that I can follow up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
My recommendation, guys, is being that you have 15 warm and a bunch that are not so warm, here's what I would look to I would do is I would practice my pitch a bunch with, obviously with each other, just kind of work it out, but I'd also probably try to test it out on a few agents you don't really care about
Yeah.
and get some live practice on it is because I do think it's such a valuable tool and a very unique opportunity to speak with realtors and why they should speak with you. And the reason I say that is that the loan officer I was talking to before is that he said I brought it up to a few agents and they weren't interested or they thought, oh, I can't do all that stuff. And I firmly believe that one, he didn't do enough of those meetings, but two, he didn't work his pitch enough, and so then he burned that bridge with talking about that opportunity. And
Yeah.
because it is such a unique thing, and we've been ingrained for our entire careers, RESPA, 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 and knowing with every I dotted, every T crossed of what they could potentially say that would get them to object to it. Object to it, and not in the sense that they don't want to do it, because maybe some just don't want to do it, but we don't want them objecting because they think you're doing something dirty. And because
Yeah.
if they think you're doing something dirty, is that not only will you not get them on the BDM program, they're not going to want to work with you generally on everything else because
True.
those two couples they're doing some shady stuff and I don't want to deal with that. And
Yeah.
which would be true if I thought that about a realtor and they're doing shady things, is that I'm not going to work with them because character matters to me, and my license I don't it's not worth any particular referral relationship. So
Right.
you'll want to do that, and that could even be getting with Karen again and just really hammering her on the legal side of things and the compliant and how we exactly do it. So when somebody says to you, "Well, I was always told this or that," is like you have the answer for it. Reason and
Gotcha.
make them feel
Yeah.
comfortable. So that's why practicing on somebody that doesn't know you, or there's not warmth there, because they're going to be even more critical, right? Because they don't know you, or you just kind of some slimy person coming here trying to
Yeah.
tell me something illegal to do to get the business. But the good news
Well,
is,
just
oh,
Mhm.
go ahead, Dennis.
just to address that, because I've experienced it with a recruit. He does good numbers and he's coming aboard finally, but he has a system called asklocal.com
Okay.
that he developed. It's kind of like um, a site that it connects everybody in the party of the loan,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be the attorney, the client, the realtors. They're all in one one chat, and so they always know real time what's going on with the file. So at first he was all gung ho. He went to the Y next, and in the end, when the BDM thing was explained, and I talked to him about the BDM thing. We ended up with a Zoom, me, him, and Mike, to talk about the Ask Local and how that could be part of Nexa. Maybe Nexa could integrate it, or it could go on the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then at first he was all gung ho, but his business partners that were investing didn't trust the BDM thing as being legal.
Yeah.
So Mike was saying, well, it's been vetted. I'm the one that takes the hit for it. If it goes bad, it's not you. It's going to be me,
Yeah.
And so at first he was gung ho, and then he backed out. So when I finally got a hold of him again, he says, I'm going with Barrett. And I'm like, oh, you are? And he's like, yeah, I guess my investors just don't like the whole BDM thing. I said, well, you don't have to utilize it, but I'm thinking that they maybe thought the same thing you just said. If they're doing dirty stuff, we don't want to be part of it at all. So I ended up getting Mike involved with it again, and he got to present to Mike his little asklocal.com thing that he developed. And then now I just onboarded one of his guys for him. That was the question last week. I onboard a guy and then reposition them once he comes on, because he can't come on to the March. So two of his guys are onboarding, so he is coming on now.
Great.
And he's overcome the BDM issue, and that was due to Mike explaining it, and also him and Mike showing interest in his company and potentially investing in it. So
awesome. Very cool. Yeah, so you overcome the objections and prepare, which is like a good lawyer. You know what's going to come and be prepared for anything that they might say. But your path, guys, is pretty simple. I think your guys is the easiest one that I've talked to. You guys know exactly what you need to do. You got your biggest constraint, it looks like, fixed, or at least on the path being fixed. And having more conversations with those agents, the BDM program. Now, one other thing too is that, see if we can squeeze some more out. And I had the suggestion for other people too. When you have a file in process, are you doing anything during the process to try to squeeze out more realtor meetings, more referrals during the actual loan process?
No,
That's
no, not really. And that's
definitely
something
an area of improvement right
we
there.
knew we should do that early on. Go to the closings is when we could attend closings to hit up on the selling agent and also introduce ourselves to them. And we did that at the beginning of Nexa, but it just kind of, with a lot of our businesses in Texas and not in Louisiana, or not local.
Yeah.
Some of the business is Texas, some of it's Colorado. So it's it's a little difficult to show up to a closing.
Yeah, and what I recommend, and this doesn't even require going to closing. You don't need to go to the closing for this. But this too will take you from where you are to where you want to go to if you add this to it. And so you have your buyer's agent, your listing agent, and your buyer. I talked to another loan officer regarding this too, is that if you look at during the process, that's your prime time to generate opportunities, not at closing or after. It's during the process because everybody's in that mode of doing it. And the simplest way to do it and the easiest and fastest way to do it is status update phone calls. Is that you predetermine which day of the week you're going to do it. I was doing 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, but you don't. I would start off with just one day, and you're going to be able to have conversations. I structure my conversations on an update this way: RVA, rapport value ask, rapport value ask. I structure a lot of things that way, and so like for instance, I'm calling the listing agent. And say I've never done a deal with them, assuming, right? You want to work with that listing agent. And so you call them up, let's say it's Friday, and it's a, hey, listing agent, this is, Dennis, and, I'm the lender on 123 Main Street. Now, one of the things I do is every Friday, I'm going to give you a call to give you an update exactly where we're at in the process. You'll never have to chase me. You're going to know where things are at all times. And I want to make sure you and your sellers are at ease at all times throughout the transaction. Now, if there's something else that happens before Friday, I'm going to let you know, but you can guarantee you're going to get a call from me. And so I build this, do this, and then I give them the update, which is my value. Here we're at on the file. The appraisal's been ordered. Has the appraiser called you yet? No. Okay, make sure they call it. Blah 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 blah. Then you go to the third part, which is the ask. Now, the first time I talk to the listing agent, it's not going to be asking for an opportunity yet. It's just say, is this something that should be helpful for you? That's just a simple ask, right? But as I continue to do these calls, they look forward to the calls. But then I would do my ask. I do the rapport. Hey, listen, agent, it's me again. Give you your update on 123 Main Street. We got your conditional approval. Just a couple small things the buyer's going to get to me, and they'll have it to me by the end of today. We'll get it to underwriting, so on and so forth. Right? Great, great. And then you can ask any plans for this weekend. You go now doing open houses, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yes. Just so you know, if you need anybody, even if you have a go-to lender, if you can't get a hold of them, I'm here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't expect anything in return, right? Then you can also do it is that, hey, we're working really well together. Now your ask is, I would love it. Could we set up a Zoom? There's some really cool things that, that my team does is that we don't look just to take from agents, like most loan officers do. Yeah, we do great communication, all that stuff, but we have some things in place that actually will make you more money or things that generate more business for you. Can we set up a 20-minute Zoom on Monday? Now you got yourself a meeting. You want to do this in the process because they're engaged with you during the process. After the process, yes, you might have closed great, but they quickly are on to the next deal. Same thing with the buyer's agent and then the buyers. You're asking for referrals from the buyers is because the buyers, when they're in the mode of most hyper aware of other people buying, is when they're in the mode of buying. Once they close, there's a residue of it, but now they go into moving mode, unpacking mode, painting mode. And so with my buyer, I'm calling them up Friday. Hey, I know we talked to my processor, but I'm talking to you too, and give them their update. Hey, by the way, my processor said we still need that pay stub. Can you get that to us? So you're still having that communication, right? Which is great, so that you still feel like you're the doctor checking in. But then you're asked, did you come across anybody at work this week that mentioned looking to buy? No, no problem. When you do come across someone, can you tell them about me? That wording is important is because the reticular activating system, I mentioned this earlier, so people are watching this obviously earlier, but it's one of the most powerful tools that we have is to utilize somebody's reticular activating system. That's the part in our brain that lets information in or blocks it out because we get tens of thousands of inputs at any time. It's why you're in a crowded room and all of a sudden you hear your name called. It gets through that reticular activator, it comes in, you hear it, right? It's because your brain allowed it in. Now, we also have that. So when you're in the mode of doing something, like say you bought a new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. When somebody's in the mode of buying, they are more aware of those conversations. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So when you say, when you come across someone, can you tell about me? They're more likely to hear those conversations. And then when they do hear that conversation, they can't help but think of you because you told them to think of you. It's just, now we can't control whether they say anything, but we put ourselves in a better position for them to actually say something for that opportunity.
Okay.
Really simple thing. You do this with the buyer's agent, listing agent, and the buyer on every transaction. You will squeeze more business out of it, more meetings out of it. And now that you have some really valuable things for the agents, you're going to capture that and turn into more business. Yeah. And it becomes something, a circular thing that self-propels itself as you go.
Gotcha.
And you made those calls yourself?
Yep.
You didn't.
Yep. And so that's another great thing too, is that as you build a team, is that they're doing everything, right? You want them to do everything, but you're able to say, hey, my team is going to be handling this stuff when they reach out to you, blah, 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 all that stuff. Listen to them. But also, I'm not forgetting you. I'm going to call you every single Friday or every single Tuesday. So you know that I'm on top of things, right? And that you're here for me. So if there's a problem, and you want to bring it up with my team, you can bring it up, right? You could say that to make them feel better. But you're not doing it for an administrative thing, though it does help. It keeps your process going smoother. You're doing it as a sales call. Mm-hmm. Sales call wrapped, it's being wrapped by, the operation type call of giving them updates. But yes, absolutely do those calls because even if you have a lot of deals and you spend 2 or 3 hours making those calls, which would take a lot of deals, that's 2 or 3 hours of prospecting time, which is green time. It's money making time. So if you reorient yourself to thinking that this is a sales call I'm doing, you're going to be more motivated to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good.
All right. Yeah, that is good. Now, is there any kind of script that you have that we could plagiarize?
Yeah. So this framework, and I use this framework for my emails. Yeah, text message, phone calls, rapport, value ask. So let me just give you a good example of calling a borrower. And so ring, ring, hey borrower, it's DJ here, with your Friday status updates. How's work this week? And one of the things I like to do, this is kind of a second level thing, is that I try to remember my conversations and try to pull something out of a conversation that I might be able to bring up on the next conversation. So let's say they, like, let's say they had a big thing with going on with work. I don't know, a presentation. I'm just using an example. Or they mentioned something with their kids in the recital. How did the recital go this week? Or how did, that big thing with work going? Well, that's rapport. So always try to start with rapport. It doesn't need to take long. Then the value. The value is the update is
Mhm.
okay. So here we're at on there. I know we talked to you yesterday with stuff, but here we're at. We're in the middle of underwriting right now. I do know that, and I think the processor reached out to you, or my LOA reached out to you, that we are going to need your most recent bank statement. Do you understand? What we
Okay.
need, give that stuff. And so I might reiterate something they already been told, but it's coming now from my position of authority. Get that to me today, right? We're still waiting on it. So the value is the update. Then it makes the ask all the easier. So now that is that, now I'm gonna ask, by the way, is who do you know on there? Now you might not ask every single week, on it,
Right.
or you might change the way you do your ask. But it's just that framework. Same thing with the
Right.
agents and
So basically,
rapport value
it's that
ask.
acronym.
Yep.
Yeah. The core value ask. Okay. So you go off of that guideline. Well, however you say it, just go off of that.
Yep,
Guideline.
and that in that order. Most people are, why they have a hard time with an ask is because they usually are putting that in the front of the conversation, or it's their mind. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
trying to do the ask. No, I'm earning my ask through the rapport and then specifically the value.
Okay. All right.
And knowing that is that the biggest complaint of loan officers is communication. It is very valuable. And so sometimes I'll even prep a buyer. Hey, the reason I'm going to give you a call every Friday because the number one complaint buyers have with loan officers is that they're terrible at communication. That's why I'm going to make sure you call. You might even get annoyed by me, but that's okay. When I call, make sure you pick up the phone because it's going to be what's going on. I always then future
Yeah.
pace them what to expect.
Right. Now, I don't know if this applies to this call, but when it comes to recruiting, one thing I'm finding, DJ, is I can get them to the why next call. I can get them excited on the initial call. It's
Hmm.
after that, after the why next call, when I do the follow up, and they'll say, "Yeah, I want to talk again." I never, I don't give them an open end question. I give them a closed end question, like when, I just say, "What's good for you Monday or Tuesday?" type of thing, to talk again or to get your questions answered. And it seems like right now, I've probably got 15 to 20 very warm leads that were all excited, and it's getting them to re-communicate with me. Now, again, if this is a different call, that's fine too. We can set that up. So
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little different context for people listening, but I'm fine sharing with it. Is that I view it as is whether it's a loan officer you're trying to recruit or it's a lead that you have, you need to do something to try to re-engage them. They showed interest and all that stuff. Like for a loan officer, if you're trying to recruit, I would try to drop something tasty to them, on there. Say, hey, I just priced this out and I'm gonna make 400 basis points, but my rate is better or whatever. Or hey, did you hear we announced we're going to be paying on servicing coming up later on in the year. We're going to have those
yeah,
opportunities. That kind of stuff is to drop those little nuggets to get them to re-engage or send them a meme or something like what's the one with that? I haven't seen the movie. The guy that's all by himself lonely. Just something to get them to respond and do something funny. Is
yeah, yeah.
you just anything to do with re-engagement with them, obviously phone calls, all that stuff. That's what I would do. But also knowing that you're always going to have a percentage of people that flake out. But you want to minimize that by making sure that you are constantly on top of them because most people think that somebody flakes out. It's really that we just lack a follow-up because follow-up is king. The fortune's the follow-up, as they say.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I knew that's why I called it what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I called it with Kathy. I told her, I said, that's got to be it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
Cool. So,
all right, man.
when are you guys gonna start implementing those status calls? That's what I'm really excited for you guys because
Monday,
you're that's
Next week.
next week.
perfect. That's very low hanging fruit. Work on that your pitch for the BDM program, and you guys will crush it.
All right.
All right.
Okay, buddy. Thanks,
Appreciate you
DJ.
too. Talk to you guys
All
soon.
right. Thanks, DJ.
You're
Bye.
welcome. See ya.